Hello everyone, my name is Rita Arora and this is my presentation for final project of CSE 564 visualization at Stony Brook University. So here we are trying to find out uh, crime data analytics in United States of America. So we see how the crime rates differ in different states, and we try to find out and if there are some demographic factors that affect those crime rates. We also see if there's any effect of gun laws on them and how they and what's their general trend in last 5 to 6 years. So starting with the choropleth on the top left. So as you can see here, the light colors denote a lower rate of crime, while the higher darker colors denote a higher rate of crime. Alaska and New Mexico are at the top of the list, while on the other hand, Maine and New Hampshire are at the bottom. Moving below, we have human development parallel coordinates plot. So here racial diversity is calculated using Simpson's diversity index, which tells us what's the probability that if a random person is chosen, what's the probability he belongs to a given race. So higher value means there's more racial diversity. So if we brush over this axis, we will see that as we move below, in the places of low racial diversity, the crime rate is pretty less as the lines are very light. But at the same time, if we notice here that these are also the places which correspond where the density population density is also very low, so we have to be careful how we interpret this curve, and we need to avoid wrong conclusions. Next we discuss gender ratio. As you can see, there is no very obvious trend with gender ratio, but Alaska is an outlier. It has way more men as compared to women, and it also has a very high crime rate, so we can deal with that info as we want. Next, two factors I found out are very important, which are poverty and unemployment. For both of them, the states with highest crime rates are pretty much also the states which have the most unemployment and the most poverty. So I'll just show you over here. So as you can see here, the states with the highest unemployment are the darkest lines, and almost the same trend we can see with the poverty. Other factors don't seem to impact the distribution of crime as much. Often it's said that immigrants can lead to more crime, but as you can see here, higher immigrant percentage population doesn't seem to be leading to any major effect on crime per capita. Again, on the other hand, if we look at income per capita, we'll see that in places with higher income, they usually tend to be more peaceful, but there is no as clear trend as was with poverty and unemployment. This is probably due to the fact that the same money can buy you more or less things in different places. The purchasing power is different. Next, we also try to see if there are some states which have high crime rates because there are more metropolitan cities there, but as you can see, that's also not the case. California has highest number of cities, but its crime rate is pretty much in the middle as compared to other places. Moving on, again, this is the median salary, and we again don't see any major trend over here. Next, we'll see the gun plot. The way we are visualizing gun laws like this is because we just need to look at the area of the plot here to see the extent of the gun laws over here. As you can see, if we want to compare Texas to California, since the area occupied by the California's curve is more than the area occupied by Texas curve, we can directly say that gun laws in California are more stricter as compared to Texas. Again, we can compare it to other places as well, such as New Mexico. New Mexico has far relaxed gun laws as compared to California, and we can compare it to other places as well, such as New York. As you can see, this is New York, this is California. The way this is plotted is that each of these gun laws have different categories and they all have different number of provisions. So if a state has implemented all the provisions, it's given a value of 100, and if it's implemented none, it's given a value of 0, and we calculate a percentage. Now coming here, we also have a crime type pie chart which tells us how the crime is distributed. So as you can see, property crime, the major chunk is occupied by larceny, theft and property crime, with some taken by burglary and aggravated assault. We also have a bunch of line charts here, and we plotted all of them here to to show the general trend over there and see what particular crime types are leading to crime trend we see in a particular country. And all these graphs are linked to this map. So if we click on a map, we can see that the state over here gets highlighted. We also get its radar plot, which is showing the extent of the gun laws over here. And we also see what are the crime distribution over here. And we can compare it to national trends. So the line over here shows the national trend of that particular crime, and the line over here is that state's national trend. As you can see, for New Mexico, it has higher crime rate for most of the crimes, but alarmingly murder and manslaughter trend is on the rise. Also, there's aggravated assault. We can also select multiple states in one go. For example, we can select states with highest rates of crime, and we can analyze them further. As you can see, for all of these states, poverty and unemployment are in the upper half, and none of them have very strong gun laws, and all of them have rates above the national average. And also we can see their curves are slightly skewed. They show a lot of variation, which probably means that the socio-economic conditions there are not as stable, which can probably lead to these spikes. And the pie chart is just so that it shows the distribution over the entire region. So one benefit of that thing is we can also visualize the crime rate by region. If we select just the west coast, so this is the crime rate for all of these states combined. And as I was talking about here, if we select these states which have low crime rates, we can see their curves are below the national average. They're very stable. They are usually straight lines. We can also look at some of the bigger states, such as, let's say we look at Texas, California, and New York. And as we can see, they've almost follow the national trend. Now, another important thing that you notice here is that despite all the efforts, we are seeing the less threatening of the crimes, if I may put it that way, are going down, such as burglary is going down, property crime trend is going down. But on the other hand, aggravated assault, rapes, murder and manslaughter are rising, which is kind of alarming. Other things that we can see here is, though we are seeing that most of the states with high crime rate don't have very strict gun laws, but at the same time it doesn't mean that if you have loose gun laws, it automatically means that the crime is going to be high. For example, if we look at, say, Utah has very relaxed gun laws, and it doesn't seem to have a lot of crime. Same goes for Maine, New Hampshire, even Kentucky for that instance. So I think we can draw a conclusion that till a certain degree, it's usually you need to focus on poverty and unemployment to control the crime. But beyond a certain degree, gun laws probably help, as we can see in these states over here. Like, they don't have very strong gun laws, and all of them have higher crime rates. But on the other hand, states such as California and New York, despite having very diverse and populations, have been able to get a better grip on the crime rates over there. Also, we can also change what we visualize over here. So the map here is showing the trend of all the crimes. If we click on a section in the pie chart, it shows us the trend of that particular crime. So right now we are seeing property crime. And another observation, an interesting observation here, is property crime is more in on the west coast and east coast. And surprisingly, it's even more pronounced for vehicle theft. So vehicle theft is almost very less on east coast and very high on west coast, which shows that for some weird reason people on west coast like stealing cars. So yeah, so these are so our main takeaways from these things are, like, to control crime, probably you need to focus on unemployment and poverty. And gun laws help once your states reach above a certain population levels. And the alarming thing is that the crimes such as aggravated assault, murders, and rapes which are rising, and something needs to be done about them. So that was it from my side. Thank you.